Okay, show me the beat that you're gonna do. This is a test. This is rehearsal.
Here just rehearsing, man.
I'm music on my mind.
Music on my mind.
On my mind, and then I'll go. Welcome to the Failed Podcast, where we dive into the world of failure, exploring stories of individuals who have triumphed in unexpected ways. Each episode, we invite guests from diverse backgrounds to share their personal tales of failure, discussing their coping mechanism, valuable lessons learned, and their journey from setbacks to success. And now we want to welcome our guest, Andy, from the Music on My Mind podcast. There we go. That took us about 2 hours to figure out.
Oh my gosh,
that
so
triangle.
much.
There you go, man. Thank you so much.
Instruments.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Sam, man, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on, man. I mean, if anyone knew, well, I'll give him a little taste, but this guy, I saw him online. I interviewed It's Ernie. And so it's so funny because he does that, so I just do it for fun. And you interview them, and then obviously we met at PBR and podcast, and I remember meeting you and my wife meeting you and hearing you. She got good vibes from you, and so did I. Like, you just seem like this lovable person that's like kind, and then come to learn that you're a teacher. You work with elementary age students, and so I'm like, okay, it explains it. This guy is different. He is unique. And I saw your last podcast. I'm going to put everything below. So that people can reach, and we'll do the plugs and everything at the end. And I was just like, man, he got some energy, man. I don't know if he drank some Red Bull or if it's just naturally running through his veins. Tell me where you get this, okay, your smile is huge, but your energy matches it. What's going? Are you just loving life? Did you win the lottery? What is it?
I wish. I just want to give good vibes, you know, and like that's just who I am. I'm a very happy person. I'm very just naturally positive and full of energy, man. And I honestly don't know where I get it, because whenever I'm at home and I'm not doing anything, I'm out. And I think that's what it is. I'm either on 100% and just going, or I'm done and I'm just on the couch resting, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
There's a meme where it says, you've been married for a while whenever your wife gets mad at you because you fall asleep fast.
Oh, dude, that's all the time.
It's like, how do you do it? How do you go to sleep so fast?
We could be watching a movie. We could be watching anything. And 10 minutes in, I'm done.
Okay, so I get in trouble because when we're watching something that my wife wants to watch, I'll fall asleep, but when it's me, I'm like, did you see that? And I'm awake. And so I have to be a little more strategic because it happens too often. But does that happen to you? I think that's kind of a funny thing.
Yeah, because we'll watch different things, and we're into all kinds of different shows and all that. But sometimes she falls asleep, and then I let her. If there's something really cool that happens, I'll be like, oh my God, wake up, and we'll rewind it and all that. But And for me, I'll wake up periodically and be like, oh, we're still watching, and I'm a snorer too, so she knows when I've fallen asleep.
Everyone knows, right? So we're gonna start with where you're from. You're a Cali boy.
Yeah, I am a Cali boy.
You grew up in California. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up. And guys, when y'all hear where he grew up, you're gonna be like, boy, it's like the two names that where you grew up. It's just pretty cool. And we'll just see what comes out of that, and then we'll just start our journey through your life and see what has happened in your life to make you who you are today. So tell me a little bit about where you grew up.
So I am originally from California. I was born in Los Angeles, and then we moved to Long Beach. I grew up in Long Beach up until 5th grade, and then we moved here to Texas. But living in Long Beach, it was really cool. Knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
and seeing where I grew up. And I actually, for my wife and I's honeymoon, we went to California. We went through the entire state.
Yeah.
And we decided to go and visit, and it's changed a lot.
So
a lot.
you left at a young age. You were saying that your grandma had a business in Compton, and so what do you remember? You know, because there was only a few years there where you've probably made you learned some lessons and you know had some friends over there. What do you remember from back in the day that you still share today?
Oh man, it's really cool because I'm very proud of my mom and I'm very proud of my grandma.
Yeah.
My grandma owned a restaurant in Compton, craziest like area of Compton, but she would have Mexican food, just a restaurant, and people would come in, all kinds of different people. There was a story that my aunt told me that some rival gang members went into the same restaurant, at the same time, and my grandma was like, none of that.
Yeah.
Eat your food, get out. And that's what it was, so that was, what's it called? Free territory, like.
Absolutely, man. That's the what do they call it? Like the UN, man.
Yeah, for sure. And like all kinds of different people. My mom had a catering business.
Yeah.
And all throughout, like I remember going to Los Angeles, going to like different cities around Long Beach, and I had a job too, man. I was selling candy on the side, selling waters. We would do weddings, quinceañeras, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was over there, my little table, selling Jolly Ranchers, selling Airheads, selling water to, those Theos that, drank a little bit too much. Hey, $1. Here you go. And I would make bang, dude, $40-$50 for a little kid.
Yeah, everything's a little more expensive in LA. And so, you said that you were proud of your mom and your grandma. Okay, now we all obviously are proud to a certain extent to our mothers and stuff, but what particularly comes to mind when you say that?
Ooh, well, I was raised by my mom. So single mom kind of family, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But with that catering business, with just even up till now, she doesn't have the catering business anymore, but just all of the things that she has had to do to help me go through school, go through college, all that kind of stuff.
What's something particular that you've learned from your mom where she didn't necessarily teach you, but that she's been so consistent with from when you were little to now, and you kind of look at your mom and you're like, how do you do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, work ethic, responsibility, like respectfulness, like all of those things, like she was that cornerstone for me to learn all of that. I mean, that's the only person that I had to fall back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all of those things are very crucial for any human, for anybody to know.
We face a lot of like failures and challenges at such a young age. So you leave California at 5. Okay, I don't even know.
No, 5th grade. So
5th grade.
Yeah.
So you're 10, 11. So 5th grade, you head over here
Yes.
to Texas. So much happens in transition. You're obviously like this, social butterfly now from what the vibes that I've gotten and everything. Did it exist back then? And in that transition, what were some of the challenges for moving from California to Texas? What were some of the things that y'all faced during those times?
So the reason why we moved was because my grandpa, he was a truck driver.
Got it.
So, he would go, to different states and all that. So California, like you said, super expensive. He came over here to Texas. Hey, Texas land, super cheap. Let's buy a house, move everyone into it. So we move. We're all in one house, and it's my grandparents, my mom, me, my sister, and my 2 uncles and my aunt. So 8 people in a house.
Yeah. Did everyone start coming home? Milk was only $2.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
All the stuff that I always hear is like gas is this and everything's this, and it's such a big transition.
Yes, it is.
How did y'all adjust? What was life like? Could you tell the difference from California to Texas?
We're a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like living in Long Beach and just in California, like it has that stigma of like you said, it's expensive, and coming over here, everything's more open. It's not city life. We lived in a neighborhood, but it was like right next to the city.
Yeah.
So, coming over here to a suburb, that was different. Like I had to make new friends, and people weren't used to like people skateboarding or biking or, doing stuff around the neighborhood. So, when my aunt and I were cruising with our skateboards or, hanging out or playing soccer or whatever, people were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
The other kids, like they had backyards. We had a pool in our house, but, they had backyards, and they kind of like hung out secluded with like their family. They wouldn't really hang out with other people.
So, okay, I'm going to put this out there to kind of help our fellow Texanites, okay? So, welcome to Texas. I know you've been here a long time.
Long time now, yeah.
But I have to say it for this reason. You can laugh with me. So, for some reason, people get so upset, and they're like, oh, go back to California.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
And people have been migrating over here from California, and it's been happening since you came over here to now, and that they think that there's always a ship, whatever. And so it's just this negative thing that pops up. I refuse to play along because, I'm like, whatever. So I just wanted to publicly say, y'all, behave, man.
Yeah.
Like, be nice, man. But that's the first thing people say, and I'm like, dude, you're from Cali. I wouldn't dare tell you in a serious manner, you need to go back. But people say it's so tough when there's no Californians around. How do you feel about the shade?
I'll say it sometimes. I'm like, man, all these Californians.
I know, because you're a type.
I'm already over here, yeah. I
That's
like to
so
say,
funny.
And I like to say, like, I'm Cali born.
You're like, I get it, man.
Right. I'm Cali born, but I'm Texas raised.
There
Like
you
I
go.
feel like I am a Texan.
What do you think makes a good Texan? Or why do you consider yourself a Texan?
Mainly because the culture has been more like ingrained in me now.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't into sports as much. Like football season. Like even with the Cowboys. Even with Houston. What are the Houston ones called?
I'll tell you, I was going to say
sports.
Oilers,
No.
but that's old school, man. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I can't even think. See, I don't even care what goes on in Houston.
Right. But yeah, no,
Dude,
like,
don't get mad at me, okay? I watch sports for the entertainment factor. I don't have a team,
I was in marching band, so we were
Friday game,
Friday
night.
games, Saturday games. Back when I was in college, so like we would watch the games and football, sports ball, but yeah, that barbecue as a not just as a food, but as the culture, barbecue culture. I love barbecue, and like Texas is the hub, and I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah.
Where other states, haha, nah. Texas is where it's at.
So music on my mind is obviously a music podcast.
It is a music
Somehow you connect it. We'll get into that in a minute, but I bring it up right now to ask, when did it get introduced to your life, and when did it become important?
I mean, since I could walk, it's pots and pans, with spoons, and I was always trying to make music somehow, whether it be on a ladder or on a stool or what be it, and I joined choir in 4th grade, did orchestra in 5th grade, and then I moved, and then I had to start all over.
Got it.
And I was actually like pretty good on the violin, but had to come to Texas, did elementary school, didn't do band until middle school, joined band, played clarinet. That's the first instrument in the band world that I started playing.
Yeah.
Went to high school, the band director was like, hey, we need tuba players, so be a tuba player.
How big is the tuba? Is that the big one?
So sousaphone is the one that you put on.
Oh, okay.
That's 40 pounds and probably like 4 feet tall.
Got it. Yeah. The big.
Tuba is probably the same, but you put it on your lap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What did your mom say when you picked such a big instrument?
Well, I didn't pick it. They told me. So
yeah.
I played clarinet.
Yeah.
So this is just like, small little instrument, I'm playing and all that. But, I'm a big guy and we needed tuba players. So my band director was like, switch to tuba or quit band. And I'm like, I like my friends and I like being in band. So, it was just a challenge. It was another thing that I had to overcome.
What were the roles that music played back then as far as like your outlook in life? Because music is hard, like it's fun, and every time I talk to someone that's a musician, they're like, this looks so cool when you watch a guitar player, but you gotta have commitment, you gotta practice. There's a lot of mess-ups, there's a lot of growth involved that people don't see. So how did you handle the growth? How did you handle not keeping up or having like a savant in your class and now everyone feels like, man, we're not that good? Right. Did you come across some of those challenges?
I mean, I was definitely bottom band up until junior year of high school. So, in the bottom band, in the like beginners band and all that stuff, up until I switched to tuba, and there were only like 4 of us.
Yeah.
And one of us had to get good, like one of us had to take the lead and all that kind of stuff. And, through that, I think it was just a matter of like, well, I'm doing this, I have to practice. I have to get good, like this is a new instrument. So even with clarinet, with anything, with any musical instrument, you have to practice it.
Yeah.
You have to learn the fundamentals. You have to learn how it operates, how you as like a person using your lungs, using your air, how that affects the instrument, how it affects the tone of the instrument even. But yeah, like just having to practice, having to learn a lot of it by myself. Yeah. In practice, and I didn't take lessons up until college.
Yeah, because like guitar, you can jam out on your own, and you can be like, bah, bah, bah. But like the clarinet and the other one, like you're playing parts to a bigger song,
right? And
so people don't seem to understand that because there's these weird instruments, and then people show up like Christmas party, play your instrument, and then they're like, oh,
all right,
and so it's silent, and it's like. Do, do, do. Because it needs the ensemble around it, and so people don't seem to get that. So once you started learning and becoming proficient in the instrument, what did you learn about yourself, and when did you say, man, I'm good and I need to get better? What is that like?
I feel like I didn't start thinking about that until like college.
Yeah.
Until I graduated high school, trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. So I go to community college. I go to TCC. I bring 4 instruments with me that entire time. I bring I bring my clarinet. I bring my tuba. I had a trombone there that I could practice on, and I had a drum set. So throughout that entire time that I was there, if I had any off time, I would be in a practice room.
Yeah.
And, my wife, whenever we were like first dating, like she had her classes, she did them. I had my classes, I, did my thing.
Yeah.
And, she would be in a class. I had like 30 minutes. Might as well go practice.
So we all have things that we need to escape. Life that gets our attention. Some play golf, some will watch a movie, some will read books. You were drawn to music and you're practicing. And it seems like a very isolated thing because not everyone is there to make the whole music thing come together. What drew you to that, and what did you feel like it was developing in you as a person? Because that's like, it's a quiet, it's focused, and you're saying, I'm not getting better, I am getting better. How do you deal with all that? And day in and day out, right. Man, like.
For me, I have really bad ADHD, and I know, like, I feel like music has helped me focus a lot more and really like, get into myself or like get accustomed to what I need to do to get better. Yeah. So even if it's just a practice room, even if it's just me, I would make sure that I would use that time to kind of like block everything out and just play the music. Play the music, record myself. I would record myself all the time because, you know, you need to listen back at, you know, a mistake that you made or something that you can make better.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot of recordings on my phone, you know, playing tuba, playing whatever, playing drums. Oh, you know, I could have done that better. Let me do it again. Play it again. You know, let's do it. And then like 7, 8, 25 takes later, you know, you're like, all right, cool. I feel
so when you that's a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
25, 30 takes to finally get it. And then when it's time to perform, the risk of messing up is the same every time. Like you could miss no matter how much you practice. Like it requires focus, obviously, but what's the other thing that it requires so that you can show up and perform? Like perfection is such a hard thing to reach, but it's almost like that's what's required of you, but that almost seems impossible.
For me now, it's and looking back at it, it's the fact that the person needs to want to perform, or needs to have that passion, and passion is like super, you know, like that's the key word. So you know, you're passionate about, you know, performing because the end goal is the performance. You know, whatever it is, you know. It could be your last performance and then you just never touch the instrument again, or it's, you know, performance 1 of 100, you know, that you're going to be doing throughout your life. But definitely the passion of wanting to put the music out there. And even if you make a mistake, I was already, nope, let's try that again. I was always told that the crowd probably doesn't know that you made that mistake. You just keep going. And, you know, I tell, you know, that I'm an educator. So, you know, I tell my people like, hey, if you mess up, that's cool. Keep going. Because you mess up, you get in your head, you stop or something, it ruins it.
Yeah.
You mess up, you keep going, no one's going to know.
So for me, like the microphone is in a sense my instrument. I know it's a stretch.
It's an instrument.
And so when I mess up, there's 2 ways I mess up. I either mess up in my head, or I mess up while I'm talking. Like you right now, you're like, you know, you stumbled. And so we could have been like, dude, what's wrong with you? You don't know English. So, but we choose to go and it's natural to me. Is it natural for a musician because it seems so easy to go a few notes in and you're like, oh, go back 3. Oh, I messed up. Go back 3. You know what I mean? And here you just got to keep going.
Yeah, you just got to keep going. Because, I mean, you know, if someone's recording you, you're going to be able to see that back.
Yeah,
you know? To where if you play and you mess up like the one note, chances are it's either not going to be picked up on the recording or no one's going to notice. And you just keep going and you play into it, man. And if it's a big mess up, then you play into it more and you kind of laugh it off and you keep going.
So you've played with the guy that, you know, goes like this.
With the conductor, yes.
Okay. Without giving away all their secrets, what is he telling y'all when you're going? Like, sometimes I can line it up, you know, over here. Okay, quiet. Go, right? Yeah. But what is there some things in there that are just like cool insight, like of him communicating to everyone in the chairs?
When you're looking at them, you see the back, but in the front, they're talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're mouthing things. They're saying, you know, like brighter, bigger, you know, whatever it is, you know, like quiet, and all that kind of stuff. Some ASMR for you. No.
Does he look at people and you know, and he okay?
There's actually a very popular video of Leonard Bernstein, and he conducts without his hands. He just uses his face, and he'll go, you know, and like do those like key things. And he's talking to the ensemble, and they're doing it.
Got it. That's fun. I mean, you think of like a mom, and she's literally conducting she's like,
yeah.
Oh, like my mom is serious. She did the face, she did the look, and so that's funny, dude. I never knew. Now I'm very intrigued by conductors who do old music, like Beethoven and stuff like that, and timing is very key. And then they time some of them, and they're 2-3 seconds off from like the original, and you think, man, they're keeping not only the beats and the melodies and all that, but the timing is so important as well. And you know, so I thought that was pretty cool. And I looked into it just a little bit. Let's jump ahead, okay? So now you're in college. You're deeper in. Did music take you to college, or did you? Okay, so you went to school. You studied. You were doing music then. tell me what's going on in your life. Is there any significant failures or challenges that you faced at that time? Well, okay,
Yeah.
that maybe a key one that just gave you some life lessons that are not only good for you, but like you use it to teach others, you know?
My favorite thing, and something that I hold near and dear to my heart, is knowing that you're just a small fish in a big pond. Whether it be in college or in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you're just one person in this like galaxy, right? So, you know, like you can come in with, you know, a big head saying, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone better than you. There's always, and like,
When did you say I'm the best, and then boom, like you had to humble yourself? How do you deal with that?
Leaving community college and going into university.
So you were the best at community, and then you show up at university?
I was the only person that really did what I did in community college. So like playing 4 instruments. There was a concert where like I would switch instruments and then I would like do something else. So like it would be like tuba and then trombone and then clarinet and then drums, all in one concert. Yeah. And like for me, you know, that dopamine rush, that like, you know, oh, I'm so cool, you know.
You're the man. You leave, you show up, you're like, yeah. And then you leave like, yeah.
And then after that, I go to UNT, I go to university, and man, there are people doing all kinds of different things, man, and like showing that they're a performer. And like I'm a performer. I love performing, but like there are levels to this, you know.
So how does this humility help you adjust, and what do you change about yourself at that point when you go to university and you come out? What's the different you?
It happened real quick.
Yeah.
But you know, from that, what would be my first year, because I was transferring over. But my first year there, up until my last year, it was just constant growth, constant learning. I went in for music education, you know, being in the music program and being in a big music program like UNT, that, you know, you're not just like going to class. You have rehearsals, you have performances, you have lectures that you have to attend, you have performances that you're not even performing that you have to attend, all kinds of different things. So like it's constantly going, learning, and you know, taking all of that stuff. They told us to bring journals with us and like write down those things that like that you notice, you know.
You're like, but I'm the guy, you know, from TCC, you know, I did the okay.
Yeah. Nah, man. No, you're just a guy.
No, people don't understand that the greats, wherever it be podcasting, movies, there's a lot of learning. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of watching other people. There's a lot of serving other people that's required to get your mentality as strong as it needs to be at the top. Like the development is not just be good and show everyone that you're good. Sometimes it's watch someone that is good, you know, and come to terms, I'll never be that good. And when I feel like when people come into terms with that, you leave yourself the opportunity to learn all the time. When you can say, there's always someone better than me, then you can say, I can always learn from someone.
And that's the thing. You can always make a friend. I'm gonna try that again because I was like hacking. But that's the thing. You can always make a friend. You can always make friends with that person to learn from them. You know, like it doesn't hurt. You're learning from someone who you want to not be better than, but like to catch up to, or to, you know, to have their style influence your style so that way you can do your own thing.
Do you have a hard time saying that you're the best?
Now I do, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but people, we seem to want to be the best, say that we're the best, my kid's the best, my this is the best, but I don't know if that's necessarily healthy.
Right.
You know, I really don't like it. Like, I never want to be the best. Then you need to leave. You need to move to Mars or something. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You cannot hit the limit of this Earth. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because it's the human aspect of like
what's left.
Yeah. So
you're obviously passionate about music. You've put it in the name of your podcast. You're interviewing, showcasing other artists. and you seem to be not only just doing it, but you're excited about doing it, right? And
Yes,
so
sir.
you're a teacher, you're teaching young people to be passionate about music. So I'm going to read a few insights about music, and then I just want you to give me your thoughts about it, okay?
Sure.
So here's the first one.
All right.
Playing music improves brain function. Studies show that playing an instrument engages memory, motor skills, and creativity, enhancing problem-solving abilities, IQ, and academic performance. How does that sit with you, and how would you maybe encourage parents like, hey, you need to put your kid in an instrument when they're elementary, middle school?
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you?
No,
Have you seen that?
100%. I mean, that's something that's ingrained in us being educators,
Yeah.
And especially being music educators. It's true, and it's not, like 100% full, like your kid is going to automatically be better.
Yeah.
It depends on the kid,
Yeah,
it depends on not just the kid, anybody. It depends on, again, the passion, the want to do it.
Yeah.
But it does help, you have to memorize music. I have to memorize music all the time, like you can't be at a big gig with like the sheet music still. You can't just be looking at it. You have to memorize it.
Yeah.
You have to know what comes next. For the cognitive and the motor functions, man, playing keyboards, you're using all your fingers.
Yeah.
Playing drums, you're using your feet, you're using your hands. Playing brass, woodwind instruments, you're using your lungs, your diaphragm, the air coming out of your body into the instrument to make it sing.
Because the drums, like for me, whenever I try to do like two separate beats, two different patterns, at the end I'm just like, I start off like this. And then at the end I'm like,
all together.
Everything's the same. And so that's, to me, that's so, I don't know how to play any instrument, but I've fiddled around with the drums. And so you have to retrain your brain to do things that aren't natural.
Yeah.
So what instrument is your best, and what's like one of the biggest struggles with that instrument?
So depending
I'm
on
the best.
I like to say that primarily now, in this current time, I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
And I have experiences with all other kinds of different instruments, but primarily now I'm a drummer. My gigs, everything that I do is primarily through the drum set and through percussion.
Yeah.
But that's an instrument that I feel like I've logged more hours in, that I'm more passionate about. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm not passionate about all the other instruments.
Yeah.
I love playing other instruments. Like it's cool being able to play keyboard, playing brass, playing drums, and just kind of like hopping around.
How many instruments can you play? Like you would be able to play in a band?
Well enough to play in a band, man. At least 10.
Wow.
At least 10.
Yeah.
That I can say like, all right, cool. I can go to a gig and be like, all right, we're gonna play a show.
Have you ever made a video where you play? It's just you and you play 10 instruments and make.
No, but I wanted to. That's actually in the works.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That I have all of the recording stuff, and I just need the time.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad about making my own music. I perform with all of these different artists, musicians, bands, and all that, and that's cool because I love their music.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my music, none of it's released. It's all on my laptop still. It's all
man.
like. Yeah, and like I want to pull the trigger, and I want to.
Is it instrument? Is it singing? What is it?
There's a lot of everything. I have a challenge for myself every summer. Every summer, I want to get into one genre of music.
Got it.
So like it started back like when I first graduated high school. The first summer, I was like, well, I'm gonna do marching band stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, I did some arranging. I did just like learning basic composition and all that stuff before I even went to university to learn how to like do that stuff. And then from there, I was like, all right, well, I have a jazz band here, so I'm going to do some sort of jazz project in the summer. And then EDM, rap, hip hop. Yeah, I had a SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And
what are you doing this summer?
This summer, podcasting.
Got it.
Was my thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And throughout that, I've had gigs with different musicians and with different bands that just needed a drummer or other instrumentalists. But yeah, so, just kind of like taking those steady gigs, hanging out with people and podcasting.
Playing music promotes social connection and teamwork. Music brings people together, fostering collaboration, teamwork, and communication skills. It creates opportunity, connect, share passion, build relationship, and boost self-confidence through live performances. Tell me the social aspect that maybe people like me who aren't in it, didn't grow up in it, what effect did it have with you? What challenges did you face with connecting with others and meeting people from all kinds of backgrounds and, just all kinds of different types of people? Because when you're not in band and you're in school, you hang out with your group and that's about it. Like, it's very small.
Right.
But it was very big for you.
Yes.
How has that affected you? How does that make you see just humanity?
I think with music, but also, again, just with socializing with other people, you have to come in with an open heart and an open mind. Mm-hmm. So, you have to conversate with people. You have to, not just in your group, like, like my tuba people, right? Like, you have to conversate with everybody in an ensemble, because you want the woodwinds to hit the right notes.
Yeah.
You want to encourage them. Hey, like, I heard that flute solo over there, that was awesome. We're over here in the low brass, holding it down. And like, it's building in an ensemble. It's building a family. Like, mm-hmm. You have to trust the people that you're performing with and all that. In a gig sense, like, if I'm playing with a band, it's that same mentality. You have to be comfortable with your bandmates. You have to be comfortable with the music that you're playing, and all of those things. So it's a very social activity, not only in the band, but with an audience.
Yeah.
If you're just over here, hey, we're so and so band, just chilling out, and
mm-hmm.
we're gonna sing some songs.
Yeah, no go.
But if you're over there, you're taking over the mic and really like raising that crowd up, and like riling them up. Hey, we're gonna sing this song, and like, oh, we have a cover. You probably know this song, and all that stuff. And okay, now we're gonna do some originals that kind of sound like that, or you don't say all of that, but you kind of allude to it, and that's communication in itself. You're communicating to the audience that, like, we sound like this kind of music, and if you like that, then great. Like, follow us, and that's how you get that following.
So, okay, this is such a random question, but I'm going to try to frame it so that we can learn from it. Okay, so follow me.
Right.
How many violins, like when you have a band, orchestra, is it like 5 or 6 of them sometimes?
It depends on the ensemble.
On the size, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say there's 5,
okay.
And then you're practicing and you're doing music together for years in a school. There's obviously different kids in there. And their parents are at different levels, making more money. Some are not making as much. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen any kind of shade where this kid has a really, really, really nice violin, and this kid has like the entry level cheap violin? And I'm asking this because socially we hit all these barriers growing up. Right? Mm-hmm. And just like if I wear cheap shoes in school and the guy has nice shoes, they kind of look down on me, and there's like bullying that's attached to it. There's like this mistreatment that's attached to it. And that's outside of band.
Yeah.
How have you seen that, and have you had to deal with, like, guys, we're in here to make music. Do not do that, because it's just so common. And I just wondered, did it show itself in band?
That's day one.
Yeah.
Like day one, like,
you're sizing each other up,
No, like, for me, day one is, like, we're here as a family. We're here to create something bigger and better than just one person can make.
Yeah.
So, like, whether it be a cheap instrument over an expensive instrument, like, that doesn't matter.
And I mean, like, inexpensive. I don't mean to say cheap too.
Yeah, inexpensive, but like, different quality, different brand or whatever. Like, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. What matters is that you're learning and you're making something.
Because in podcasting, people ask me, I want to start. What do I need? How much money? Like, they think they're doing this thing. It's like, no, don't do that to yourself, because it isn't about that. Like, you could be the next best podcast in the world and you record on your phone, like, because it's about the communication, just like it's about the music. And it's just, I was just curious, man, like, if that pops up, how you handled it,
Well, then let's take it back to podcasting. up until right now, Music on My Mind only has 3 cameras.
Yeah.
One of them is a phone. The other one is a Canon camera, and then the other phone I use to record. And you can see it in every video. It's my iPhone. I'm recording on it, and I'm using it as a microphone. When I first started, it was an Android phone that I was using as a camera. Now I'm using like my Canon.
Yeah.
But you build it up.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have the money, ball out, do it. Get the best microphones, get the best lighting, get the best whatever. But if you're just starting out, 2 phones.
Yeah.
2 phones works.
Yeah.
Or a camera and a phone. And it depends on your process, and it depends on how comfortable you are with that equipment.
True.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. It segues perfectly into your pod. You have a podcast. It's right there. See, show the thing. There you go.
There we go.
Music on My Mind. Sounds like a title of a song, but by the Eagles or some Music on My Mind.
Right. Yeah. Something.
I don't know. It's an old song. Anyways, so tell me a little bit about Music on My Mind. I've seen you interviewing, talking with people. You've had people play. You've showcased music. You ask questions regarding music. What brought it up? What gave you the confidence to pick up this new instrument / hobby?
Yeah.
And how is it going so far?
So, Music on My Mind started in October of last year. That's why, like, I have the
2022.
Yeah, and even now, like, I don't want to change it because that's the like established, like date or year. So it started in October. It started as an image. This image right here. It started on, like I made it and I was like, cool, I want a podcast. Yeah. And we were talking outside of this, like my biggest influences in like that have to deal with podcasting and interviewing are Sean Evans from Hot Ones. Nardwar is like one of my biggest. Channel 7 News with Andrew Callahan, like those YouTubers that like interview and like have their own podcast as well. Like that's the inspiration. And like in October, I was gigging, I was, like performing, I was teaching, I was doing all the things, but I was like, man, it'd be really cool to start a podcast. And music is my life, it's my career, it's my hobby, it's something that's so ingrained in me that, I wanted to not just highlight myself, but highlight the people around me. Great musicians, from the North Texas area. I started in Arlington because that's where I'm from. Arlington. I claim Arlington. That's my hood. But I claim Arlington as where I grew up. That's where I went to high school, middle school, elementary school. That's the hub, right?
Yeah.
And when I left, not a lot of people were gigging that I knew. Okay. And then I went to go to North Texas. Then I came back, and like the friends that I made in community college. The friends that I made like around high school time and all that, they're gigging, they're doing all this stuff, they're performing, and like I was like, oh man, well, I just graduated, I moved back to Arlington, and like I'm performing with some people, I'm playing with some people, and I want to highlight and to showcase and to promote all of these bands, and it went from Arlington to Dallas, to Fort Worth, and I even went up to North Texas again, to Denton, to watch the bands, because there are so many good bands in just this area, this hub. Yeah. And the world needs to know about them.
So, entering the podcast space, what are some of the you had 2 phones, a camera, and you've switched from this to that.
Yeah.
What are some challenges that you've learned? You're about 30, I think, published like 30, 31. You're going to have 33 pretty soon.
Yeah.
Episodes under your belt. They're on YouTube and they're on like the audio podcast as well. What's something that was funny looking back that has made you better today as a podcaster?
Man, looking back at all of my old videos, the editing was funny. And I'm over here.
Did you over edit? Because everyone over edits, and later you're like, "Hey, this is good enough. Just put it up.
Just put it on there." Yeah. It's content. It's good. No, but like some of the interviews that I had a scrap because they just weren't good. Really? Like not weren't good.
Okay,
let's
stop there. Yeah. Scrap.
Okay.
What did you see? Because I've had to scrap some too, whether it's something I'm producing, we watch it and that's not going out,
Yeah.
What was it? Something particular? the overall thing.
A lot of it was the lighting.
Oh, got it.
Or the audio. It was either lighting problems or audio problems. It was never anything with the band or the questions or anything, because you can edit that out and whatever.
Yeah.
But if the lighting and the audio don't work well, then
it's hard to watch.
I don't want to put out a subpar interview. So what I do is I put them in the vault. I have a vault where like all the videos are in a file or in a folder, and one day I will release them either through audio form or through whatever.
Yeah.
But for right now, they're just kind of chilling and I'm waiting.
So what are some of your what's like the elevator pitch for your pod? What is it? What are you trying to do? And what are some of the goals that you want to reach with it?
The elevator pitch. So Music on My Mind is a interview podcast promoting and showcasing the artists and the bands in the DFW area, as well as the venues. So I go to the shows.
Yeah.
And I get invited, or I'll go to a show, with some friends that I know. And from there, I ask the band straight up, like, hey, I'm this guy. I don't know if you've like seen me around, but I interviewed you on the spot. I have this box, we do a little challenge. And then since I'm here at the show, I'm going to get film of your show. So that way I'll put it at the end and it's all promotion, like you put it up, you share it, you do whatever you need to do. I'm going to do it on my end as well.
Yeah.
So that way, like, people get, publicity and, Yeah. So that is definitely the elevator pitch. That's the goal.
Yeah. Cool.
And since then, I've done one out of state interview published. I have a couple that I'm still kind of working on. Zoom is weird. And I have featured performances. So if I couldn't get an interview that day, but the band was just doing really, really well, I want to showcase that.
Yeah.
So, or there was actually an event that I had to go to, and I lost my voice. Teaching, you're using your voice. I have a little microphone and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
sometimes you're spent, and I lost my voice, and I told the band, I'm like, I'm still gonna be there. I'm just not gonna interview you guys, but I'm gonna get everything else. So I did that.
Dude, that's a good adjustment. That's hard, man.
It's really
hard. For being
hard.
a podcaster, you're like, I can't talk,
Like whispering.
So I'm going to ask you one question about failure, and then we're going to go through a hot shot of questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds great.
Here is I put thought-provoking question, okay? Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a stepping stone on the path to success. Give me your thoughts.
Yes, 100%. Because you can either let failure define you, or you can grow from it. So for me, I always try to find some sort of teachable moment in anything, in life, in whatever.
Yeah.
So, failure is just one teaching tool, one thing that you have to learn to get accustomed to. So that way you can adapt. And it's all about adaptability. Cool, I can't do that yet, but I'm going to do this so that way I can get to where I want to, be.
I love it. Here goes the rapid questions. You ready?
Here we go.
You got to change your mindset. What do you think is the key to happiness?
Doing something that you love.
What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Hanging out with my wife.
What do you think makes a good friend?
Being honest.
What are you most proud of in your life so far?
A lot of things.
What do you hope to achieve in the future?
A lot more things.
All right, pass me the square or the triangle. And we are about to, guys, we got to close this thing with some style, man. I hope y'all have enjoyed this episode. Have you enjoyed the episode?
Man, this is so
Dude, this
cool.
is great. Thank you for coming through, man. Okay, and we practiced this for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So this
in
is
5 hours.
In 5 hours, it's gonna be great. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need my throat. Okay. Go ahead and start. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed hearing our guest story. and how he has overcome challenges to face success in unexpected ways. Remember, it is not something to be feared, but rather an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it as fuel to propel you towards your goals. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review and follow us on all the social platforms. And I'm going to put all your stuff below. I'm sorry I didn't ask on the air, but if you want to follow, listen to what he's doing, I'll put it in the description below. And just like that, thank you for tuning in the Failed Podcast, and I will close this show now.